I think that's everything for everyone. Okay, in today's lesson, we're going to discuss a very important feature of web development, and that's the script tag. So up to this point, you've probably heard a little bit about JavaScript, and you've been working with HTML and CSS. We've been using HTML and CSS to generate graphics programs or um, to develop websites, and we can use JavaScript to make interactive websites. So here's HTML. It's just content, and you can style it however you want. JavaScript, you can use JavaScript to make it interactive. So you often use HTML and JavaScript to create interactive websites, but you have to combine them together. So, sorry. Okay. They're used in conjunction with one another to create interactive websites. So you could put your graphics programs inside of your website. So you have both a game and a website. Okay, you can incorporate JavaScript into your HTML web page using the script tag. Your script tag belongs in the body of your HTML document, and you can put any any JavaScript code that you want to add inside of your script tag. If you use the double slashes, it makes the line after it a comment. So all this code is just a simple comment. Okay, so script tag should be placed at the bottom of the body tag in the HTML file. That's just so all the HTML loads first, and then the script tag loads. Here's how you insert code into your script. You just put any JavaScript code that you want to be interpreted as JavaScript inside of your script tag. And then you can do um, all this stuff. You can initialize variables and then do math inside of JavaScript. Basically, anything you can do inside JavaScript, you can do inside of the script tag. Here's some new JavaScript commands that you have to learn. So um, in JavaScript, we haven't learned these yet, but these are specific commands to HTML JavaScript, and they allow people to, or allow developers to kind of interact with the web page specifically, which is why you haven't learned it yet. This is how you actually incorporate JavaScript into the websites that you're making. Okay, console.log. This one's very important. It allows programmers to output a message to the console. So let's say you want to output the content of a value of a variable. You have to use the console.log. It's kind of like println that we've used in intro to programming, except the output of console.log shows up in the console of the web page. The console is a debugging tool designed by web developers or web browsers. And most web browsers, you could just right click onto a web page and select inspect. And you can also click Command Shift Option or Command Option J and Command Shift J on Windows. Uh, so on CodeHS, if you're on a JavaScript only exercise, you can easily debug your code because you'll see these errors show up. But in HTML, it's not that easy because it's still going to run normally. You're still going to see all the HTML content, but the JavaScript won't work. As you guys can see, there's a string, or at least it's supposed to be a string, except it's not in quotations. So the JavaScript is broken, but HTML still shows up. Yep, even though there's a clear error, the HTML file will still run. So how are you supposed to know that you've made an error when you're writing scripts? Well, you can use the console to view JS errors. Okay, so from the editor, You can click um, open in a new window to open this website um, in like a bigger tab, and then you can open the console. And inside your console, you should see any errors that pop up. You can see that there's a red error message associated with the console, and then you can click on it on the side where it says index.html:4. That just means that in the index.html document, the fourth line has a mistake. Okay, you can also use console.log to print out messages. Make sure that the variables that we create hold the values that they're supposed to. So this is how you can kind of check a variable. Right now, you're not checking variable, you're checking the string. If you console.log out the string, in your console, it should show, hi, my name is Alex. So if you just open up the console, you're going to see at the bottom right here, it says, hi, my name is Alex. And then it tells you which one in the document um, this console.log was written in. It's useful to figure out the value of a variable. So imagine you didn't have the string here, you just had the variable name. You could print out whatever the value of the variable is at this line. The next command is alert. It allows programmers to create a pop-up window with the message that they want to display. So let's say we have this string and then we call this alert function. Whatever's inside of this alert function will pop up on our screen. This could be useful if you want a quick check to make sure a function or variable is working correctly, because you don't have to go to the console to look at this. It'll just pop up on your screen. This is what it looks like. So it says footage.com or whatever website you're on, and then it just says the message that you put inside of your alert. Okay, the last function is prompt. So this one allows programmers to input values into a pop-up window. So let's say we have this variable called name, and we're setting it to prompt and then your message. The user is going to see this message, which is what's your name, and they're going to get a prompt where they can type in whatever they want the name variables to be set to. And then you can also see that we're using an alert to write out what the name is. So let's see what happens whenever you run this in the browser. So first you get this prompt that tells you what your name is, or what's your name. And then here it also asks you what your name is. And then you also get this text box where you can type in what you want to output. And then you can see whenever you click Carol and then click OK, it sets the variable name to Carol. And then the alert, it sets the alert message to welcome plus the name that you just prompted. Okay, so let's see that in action on CodeJS. So I'm just going to make a new sandbox. Okay, so script tags always go in the body, and then let's say you have this element. You want the script tag to go after all the elements in your body, so let's put it as the last element. Okay, so in script tags, you can obviously use comments, and this will not be interpreted by the JavaScript um, by the browser. But you can also put actual JavaScript like var name equals name, and then you can also use commands like console.log. So let's just test this one out. Let's log out the value of the variable name, which is my name. You can see right now it only tells you um, the H1 because this is the HTML. But down here you can also see that there's a console, and it tells you my name. But usually you don't have this CodeHS console. You have your website in its own tab, And let's say here you want to check where the console is. You have to left click, or I mean right click, and then click inspect, and then you'll see this console tab, and this is where it tells you where your JavaScript code is. So here on line 11, we logged out my name. You can see on line 11, this is where the console.log is. If you also click on this, it brings you to the sources tab where you can see all the code. And you can see the console.log is on line 11. Okay, next let's try out alert. Let's say I don't want to open this in the console. I just want it to show up. How do you see console.log? You right click on your web page and then you click inspect. And then you should just click the console tab. There's a lot of tabs here. Just click console. And then you see the console.log right there. Okay. Um, let's try alerting the user what name is. So if we want a pop-up to show on the screen, you can just refresh the page and you'll see, 1 second, I forgot to save. Okay, you'll see it pops up what our message was, which is my name. You don't have to do the variable, the value of the variable. You could just do um, a string, and you'll see after I save that it pops up our message here. And then you can click OK, and then it'll show up the web page. So this alert, it interrupts whatever you're doing on the site. So let's just say you're like scrolling through the site. If an alert pops up, it'll stop everything that you're doing and it'll show this alert. And you have to click OK before you want to continue. Okay, the final thing is prompt. So let's say I don't want to keep outputting my name. I want the user to enter um, what the prompt is or what their name is. I can basically use the prompt function to ask the user something. So let's just try this right now. It's basically prompting the user nothing. And then it's setting the variable name to whatever their answer was. And then it's alerting the user of that name. Let me save this. Okay, there it pops up, it doesn't say anything, and then it gives you a prompt, and then whatever you type in here, it's gonna tell you what your name is. You also can put any message that you want inside your prompt. So let's say, what's your name? And then in the alert, we could do some string concatenation, where instead of just saying the name, you could say, my name is, and then we add the name to my name is, so then they can see what their name is, basically. Type in, it asks you what your name is, and then you can say my name, and then I forgot to save it. Yeah, you can right click and click inspect. Right now our console is empty. Let's just try out what happens when we have an error in our code. Oops. Okay. Uh, what if we misspelled prompt? We just said prompt. Well, if you save this, well, first you can see nothing happens. Nothing gets prompted on your screen. And then if you right click and click inspect and go to the console, you can see the prompt is not defined error. And then you can click the index.html and then it highlights the error right here and it says prompt is not defined. You can see I misspelled prompt. So if we just fix this, then we get back to the prompt telling you what your name is and then the user getting alerted what their name is. Let's go back. So we learned the console where you can see JavaScript errors and whatever you log to the console. You see the script tag. Um, you learned the script tag and we learned console.log. We learned alert and we learned prompt. Uh, Okay, if it's not working, yeah, you can use Control Shift J on Windows, and then it'll also prompt up the console. Yeah, if you're on a trackpad, then you have to click with two fingers, I think, and then it opens up this. On Mac, you have to use, let's check back on the slides. Okay, there. Um, Mac, it's Command Shift J, or Command Option J. Okay, the results for the competition, I don't know when those are going to get released, but they're going to be on the Discord whenever they release. Okay, uh, let's just check out what happened to the system because people are not able to access it. If you go to WebDev Part 2, you should see like Zoom link and recordings and code HS, and then your code HS class should be right here. Okay, here's what it should look like if you open it up. It should be the introduction to JavaScript and HTML. Okay, the homework is 5.1. Let me also put that on the system. In the dashboard, okay, that's really weird. Okay, so the difference here, I'll just post the, oops, there, that's the code HS link. Yeah, put on the Discord. Okay, so the difference between JavaScript and Java. So Java is its own programming language. So um it's more like general purpose and you use it for making programs that are written in Java, like Minecraft, for example. While JavaScript, it's used as a scripting language. So you usually don't make Java programs on or JavaScript programs by themselves. You combine it with HTML and CSS to make web pages. And the syntax and everything else, it's also quite different from regular Java. So uh yeah, it's basically like an entirely different language. Okay, so let's also try out also log. We have all three examples on one page. There. And then if you open up the console. Okay, so what if we have an error like in the middle of our code, like right here? You'll see the prompt still works because it's on the first line. Then when we enter our name, wait, I forgot to add, save it. Whoops. Okay, there. So the prompt still works because it's on the first line, but then the second line triggers the error. So you never get the alert of my name is name. You only get the error in console. So that's something to worry about. If you have an error like really far down in the code and you don't see an error here, you might keep writing code without realizing that there's an error in your code. So just make sure to check the console to see if you have any errors before you start coding again. Okay, I don't know, it should be activated. Yeah, I don't know about the system. If you look on the Discord, you guys have the CoreHS link, and that's all you need. And then I'll also put the homework there too. Yeah, the homework is 5.1 on CoreHS. Or 5.1. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll put the meeting recording too. Okay, that's all for class. Just do the